Videos like this start off with a massive thank you to the people who have my back, giving me support, helping me stay afloat, and pumping these babies out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This time, we'll be talking about PvE application of the Magicka Nightblade in the Elder Scrolls Online for the Homestead patch. Greetings, Gilliam the Rogue here with a quick little build video. Now, this is going to be a TLDR. I'm just going to go through the gear, go through abilities, and then do a quick little rotation. I'll have a more in-depth one later this week. So, this is my Magicka Nightblade PvE build. This is on Darren the Bloodletter. I've done some really fantastic stuff with him. Unfortunately, Magicka Nightblade is on the lower part of the Magicka DPS spectrum at the moment. Now, does that mean that it's useless and that you should not make one or delete one? No, Magicka Nightblade is still very, very strong. They're only on the low part of the spectrum if you are min-maxing in crazy group DPS environments where everyone is at the top of their game, peak performance. So, for most players, Magicka Nightblade going to be very easy to use. It's going to have a lot of mastery to it. So if you like progression, skill growth, gameplay, then Magicka Nightblade is fantastic. However, if you're looking to contend with the big boys, getting into really big endgame guilds, then you're going to want to go with something like Magicka Sorc or Magicka DK. But for most players, that's not what you want to do. You want to go in some dungeons, you want to kick some ass, and you want to have fun. Magicka Nightblade does all of that fantastically. So, let's go over gear. There's going to be two setups. One is going to be 5 Burning Spellweave. This drops in City of Ash. 1 or 2, normal or vet. Does not matter. We use this for single target, and that's because it's going to have a relatively high uptime, about 60 to 63%. Relatively straightforward. It's going to have a refractory phase where it cannot proc for 4 seconds at any given time, because the buff lasts 8, the duration, or ICD, is 12. Very straightforward, very, very powerful set for all Magicka builds at the moment. The other set is when we are going into AoE situations, and that's going to be 5-piece Scathing Mage. And the reason that this beats Burning Spellweave is because it has no refractory phase. It can have a 100% uptime if you are RNGesus blessed himself in the flesh. Most of the times in AoE situations, it'll have a 70 to 80% uptime if you're managing your buffs. And the big thing about Scathing Mage is that you need to deal direct critical damage. However, there's one ability in this game that does not operate like any other, and that is Twisting Path. Twisting Path is not a dot, and it's not direct damage, but in the sense of Scathing Mage, it is considered direct damage. So, Twisting Path will proc Scathing Mage. Meaning in AoE situations where you have 3 to 4 targets in Twisting Path, that means your chance to proc Scathing is going to be disgustingly high, meaning it'll be up way more than Burning Spellweave, allowing it to take over and beat Burning Spellweave. But again, this is only in situations where there are 3+ adds or targets to fight throughout the entire fight, or where there's so many on the screen that it doesn't matter. Fights like this, hard mode Rakat, lots and lots of ads. First boss in Maw, not really. Second boss in Maw, not really. So it's not an end-all be-all bis. It's changing your gear in throughout. That's going to be our main 5-piece. It only drops in light for either. Scathing drops in Imperial City Prison, can be normal or vet, does not matter. So those are going to be our 2 5-pieces. Then we're going to run a 2-piece monster set. I'll have 2 options. 2-piece Grothar. This is if you're granted the ability to go into melee form, meaning you're going to be 7 to 5 meters in range of the boss at all times. If you do not have access to that because the fight doesn't have room for it, or you're not comfortable with that, then we're going to run something else. But Grothar is going to be the most DPS. It's going to have a 1-piece Max Magicka, very, very strong, and its 2-piece is going to be AoE Lava Geyser Time. Going to do lots and lots of fire damage, even further amplified if you are a Dunmer. Really, really strong 2-piece set. Now, if we're newer to the game, don't have as much CP, or we are not able to get in melee mode, we will be running Valken Scoria. Valken Scoria procs on dots instead of all damage, so that means that, hey, guess what? Twisting Path is considered a dot when dealing with Valken Scoria. Need to keep that down. Wall of Fire, a dot. Crippling Grasp, a dot. Keeping all those up means Falcon will be proccing a lot. It does pretty nice single target and a little bit of splash damage, and it can be used from a range. The big issue with it is that its one piece is max health, so you're going to lose damage compared to Grothar for the one piece, but hey, guess what? You do 0 DPS when you're dead, so that extra health will be beneficial. It is not completely useless. I really like this set. It's very easy to get. It drops in City of Ash 2. It has to be Vet. Vet hard mode has a 100% chance to drop. As for Grothar, this will drop in Vaults of Madness, has to be Vet, and then again, hard mode will be guaranteed. Alright, now we'll talk about jewelry quick. 3-piece Moon Dancer on our jewelry. This can be Infallible Aether if you don't have it. It can also be Willpower if you do not have it. Willpower drops in Imperial City, the vaults, the treasure events or whatever, and then doing LFG daily. So if we press P and go to Dungeon Finder, you can do one of these a day and you'll get a guaranteed agility, willpower, or endurance jewelry piece or weapon. So you can get it from there. It's BOE. You can buy it. Fantastic. Easy to obtain. Infallible Aether drops in all of the Craglorn trials, normal or vet or hard mode. Moon Dancer drops in Mauve Lorcage, normal, vet, hard mode, does not matter. Gold, you need to be on vet or hard mode. Otherwise, normal will drop blue. Now for weapons, Maelstrom Inferno Staff on our front bar and Moon Dancer or Infal on our back bar. If we went with the 3 willpower here, it doesn't matter. Even if you don't have a Maelstrom Staff, just have a gold sharpened Flame Staff on both bars. If you don't have a Maelstrom Staff, have one with the Berserker, that's increased weapon and spell damage, and then another with fire damage enchant. That'll increase our Burning Spellweave proc. Really straightforward. Maelstrom Inferno Bis obviously does tons of damage with your light and heavy attacks and enemies in your Wall of Lightning or Wall of Elements. 189 spell damage, really straightforward. Moon Dancer, you're going to activate 4-piece Moon Dancer. You're going to have that really juicy Berserker enchant. Really nice stuff. Again, Infal is an option if you don't have 4-piece Moon Dancer. Infal is going to be a little bit less DPS, but still very high. Otherwise, 3 willpower and then just 2 non-set or Maelstrom, whatever, doesn't matter. Just make sure they're gold sharpened Inferno staves. Now, Max Magicka on all the gear, Divines on all the gear, and that's because we are running the Thief Mundus Stone. Thief Mundus gives lots of crit. Crit is king in PvE content in the Elder Scrolls Online, so we want to run that. Now let's talk about abilities really quick. This is only going to be single target. I'll cover other variations in the extended video. So, front bar, our main staff, if you have a Maelstrom Inferno, that's where it goes. First ability is going to be Blockade of Fire, does lots of single target and AoE damage. Burning enemies take 20% more. Hey, guess what? With Burning Spellweave, they're always going to be burning pretty much, especially if we're in a group. Does tons of damage, really, really strong. Force Pulse, main spammable. This is min-max DPS, does lots of damage, especially if you're Dunmer. Out DPS's Concealed Weapon and Funnel Health. Furthermore, it'll increase your chance to apply Burning, Chilled, and Concuss to the enemy, meaning you'll be doing more DPS, and you'll also enable raid or group DPS in form of minor vulnerability because Concussed OP. That'll also enable the Exploiter passive to proc if an ally is using a Lightning Staff with Wall of Elements. Very, very strong tool. Now, if you're newer or solo, go with Funnel Health or Swallow Soul. It does single target damage. It's a little bit weaker. It's cheaper to use. It's not as easy to weave as Force Pulse, but really straightforward, gives us some ultimate when we use it, gives us healing after damage. Really, really strong, really, really great. Next ability, 2 morph options. I have the AoE one at the moment. The other one is Crippling Grasp. That's the one that you want to take for single target application. It's really simple to use, lasts 8 seconds, does initial hit, then damage over time. Gives us Major Expedition, kinda meh, doesn't matter. We're going to be sitting still for the most part. It does help move around the battlefield, dodge red, that's great. Really, really strong, very helpful, enables siphoning passives to enable, which means 8% Magicka, all that good stuff. Now, Merciless Resolve, the hardest part of the Magicka Nightblade, the reason why there's a high skill cap and they're not as rewarding is because this ability is very hard to manage. It's going to give us Minor Berserk for 20 seconds. Great. Keep this up 100%. It's also going to have an augment where after you deal damage with 4 light or heavy attacks, it'll enable the Spectral Bow. or Assassin's Will, whatever the hell you want to call it. It does lots of magic damage. Now, there are two variations of using this skill. One where you recast it immediately after using the bow. This is min-max DPS, requires bar swapping, animation canceling, very, very rigorous, difficult rotation. Other option, only cast it once every 20 seconds where you get the damage proc. Very simple, easy to use, does still nice damage, but you're not going to cap out as high in DPS performance. Fifth ability, Inner Light. This is here for 7% max Magicka and 2% Magicka regen. Really straightforward. Also enables permanent major prophecy, so you do not need that on your potions. Ultimate, Soul Harvest. This is here for two reasons. One, passive ultimate gain when you get kills. This is going to be happening a lot. When we're doing AoE stuff, this will move to our AoE bar. Keep that in mind. I'm not going to cover that in this video. That's going to be for the longer, more in-depth version. The other reason is that once an enemy gets low health, we don't want to wait for a big, massive 200 ultimate. We want something immediately. Soul Harvest is going to do lots of upfront damage, and it's going to increase our damage by 20% to that target for 6 seconds. We pair that with some executes, lots of free damage. Alright, back bar. This is our other single target bar. Okay, Impale, going to be our main spammable once we get to 24.9% health, so pretty much 25% health. Very strong, easy to weave, not much to talk about. Can now be casted up to 28 meters away, so you do not need to be melee mode to use it. Second ability, Rearming Trap. Staple of all DPS in this game because it has minor force. 10% free damage on your critical hits and healing. Very strong. Lasts 12 seconds because it procs twice. It lasts 6 seconds each, 12 seconds. Bada bing, bada boom, easy to use, needs to be in melee range, needs stamina to cast. So if you're blocking a lot and dodge rolling, don't worry about recasting Rearming Trap right away. Keep yourself alive at all costs. DPS second. Next ability, Twisting Path. The epitome of Nightblade in terms of AoE DPS potential. Not as good as Liquid Lightning, but still very, very strong, enabling us to have lots of cleave and AoE damage. Furthermore, if you're using Scathing, this will be your most important ability to keep up because that is the highest chance to proc Scathing Mage. Very easy to use. It lasts 11 seconds. It says 11.5, but it only deals damage every second, meaning you want to cast it every 11 seconds. This does not fit into our rotation perfectly, meaning that it's going to be hard to manage. You're going to have to bar swap around. This is a big reason why Nightblades are hard to use, is because their rotation does not exist. Yes, you heard that right. We do not have a set rotation. Everything is watching buffs, watching dots, and reacting, reapplying when you need to. There is no time order, unfortunately. I would really like to see this get increased to about 16 seconds or something of the sort so that we had a real rotation. Okay, next ability, Flex Spot. Most of the times you're going to be in hard dungeons, lots of damage coming on you. Put on Harness Magicka. Yes, you'll lose your siphoning or passive. We'll talk about why this isn't a big deal in the future video. But siphoning attacks enables lots and lots of resource management. Means you don't need any regen. Fucking amazing skill. If you're using Force Pulse, it'll have a 30% chance to proc every attack, and if you weave it, it becomes 40%. Funnel health is only 20% when weaving. That's because Force Pulse hits 3 times. Siphoning attacks is the most busted thing ever in this game for new players and veterans alike. You having resource issues in a group with a healer not using orbs, fucking put on siphoning attacks and all of your problems will go away. This is why the Magicka Nightblade can still contend with the higher DPS classes in non-meta application. It's why Nightblades are still very good for the average player. Final ability, Inner Light. Again, same reason as front bar. 7% Magicka, 2% regen, free permanent major prophecy. Easy peasy, good shit. Ultimate. In single target application, Shooting Star wins. It costs less, it refunds ultimate, it has a longer duration where enemies stay inside. Now, if enemies are going to be moving around namby-pamby, getting out of your dots, you're going to want to run Elemental Rage, and that's because it's bigger, it covers a larger area, you don't have to worry about an enemy walking out of it. Shooting Star, initial damage, great. Refunds ultimate based on enemies hit. Place this in big groups where you're going to get 72 ultimate, because it has a target cap of 6 in terms of ultimate return. The offensive portion in terms of dealing damage has a cap of 60, as all AoEs do. So just because I said 6 target cap, don't think that you can only hit 6 enemies with it. It'll hit 60. It'll only refund based on 6. Okay, Other thing is that it places a dot on the impact for 11 seconds. It says 11.8, but guess what? Deals damage every 1 second interval, meaning it only lasts 11. Deals lots and lots of flame damage, further amplified if you are a Dunmer, and if there is a Dragon Knight using Engulfing Flames in the raid. This is also why we are using 2 Inferno staves instead of Lightning staves, because if a DK is in group, which guess what, in every trial there is going to be at least 1 DK, Engulfing Flames increases all damage by flame attacks by 10%. This is why Force Pulse wins. This is why Fire Staves are king in the Elder Scrolls Online for Magicka builds. If you're a newer player, you can go with Lightning Staves on your back bar. This will help your AoE cleave potential. It'll give you lots of Magicka back. Very easy, very straightforward. Alright, now that we went over that, I'm not going to talk about CP in this video because it's not tailored to the solo application. It is for group play, and that's what the further build will be about. Okay, now let's go through a rotation. So, the first thing that we're going to want to do before every fight for any class, for any build, is buff up. So, we look at what we have at our disposal. First is Merciless Resolve, and that's pretty much it. We also have Siphoning Attack, so we can proc both of those, and then drink a potion. Now, I'm not going to drink a Spell Power Potion for the demonstration of this video, because I'm not trying to show you my DPS with this build. That will be in the other video. This is just a rotation, so my DPS is going to be bad. I'm going to stop midway. I'm going to explain my actions. So, first thing, buff up. Siphoning Attacks, Relentless. Drink a potion, launch off a heavy, release with cripple, and now we're going to do our dots. So before we swap, we're going to do a wall of elements, and we're going to weave in between. Then we're going to go to our back bar, light attack, twisting path. Then again, light attack, trap beast, and as we drop trap beast, we're going to bar swap. So it's going to look something like this in faster application. The first 5 or 10 seconds or so of combat is going to look a lot like this. So buff up. Now that we've done 4 abilities, if we've landed all 4 light attacks, when we bar swap back to this bar, we're going to have a Relentless Focus, or an Assassin's Will, or whatever the hell you want to call it. So what we're going to do is, boom. Now we have 2 options here. If we're the less experienced player, we're going to let Relentless Focus continue running the buff. We're only going to cast it once every 20 seconds. So using a buff tracker like Srendar or something of the sort will help astronomically there. Otherwise, to look at it in terms of if you're on console, your weapon will glow red at the tip if you have the proc, or if you have the buff. So let's do 4 light attacks, consume the astral bow, but we'll still see that the tip of my weapon is still red, and that's because I don't consume the minor berserk. So for the newer player, we're only going to do that. Then after that goes away, oh, I need to recast. Boom, it's fixed. This is where we go into priority mode, and our rotation dissolves. We no longer have a rotation because our abilities don't line up. So we're just going to be watching our buff timers, watching the enemy if we don't have buff timers, and looking for indicators that we need to redo abilities. So here's a more fast-paced show at a more fuller rotation going about 30 seconds. So again, we're going to buff up, charge a heavy, release with cripple. Notice how my rotation doesn't exist anymore. I'm just looking at my buff timers and when I need to recast things. Like, I don't have a real rotation. Sometimes my abilities fall off, and that's because nothing in our kit lines up perfectly. Everything is just looking at reapplication, and that's because Merciless Resolve, the bow proc, is an unstable system. Like, we have to be properly weaving, we have to be landing attacks, and if we want to get the bow proc again, we have to recast it immediately. So we don't really have much of a rotation, unfortunately. So that's a little bit of a look at what a rotation is going to look like. Obviously, the damage is not representative. I'm not using sorcery. I don't have any debuffs. I don't have fracture. I don't have Magicka Steel. So this is not representative of what it's going to look like in a group. That's going to be for the future video that's going to come out next week. We'll go through a more well-rounded rotation. We'll look at a target dummy with Magicka Steel with orbs running, so I don't run and running my buffs properly and stuff. So look forward to that. If you are hyped for the Magicka Nightblade, you want to know how to make it into a beast. Because, yes, it's lower DPS than other classes, but only if you're the God's gift to this game. If you're an average player, or you're learning, or you're not in min-max groups who are throwing LE Drain, shredding armor and resistances of bosses, then Magicka Nightblade is going to be a very versatile, very fun, and very rewarding class to play. Plus, it kicks ass in solo performance because it has self-healing and resource management on its own. So, again, that has been my Magicka Nightblade build for the Elder Scrolls Online Homestead update. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you around. If you've liked the content in this video, consider pledging at my Patreon. The community's interest and support keep me inspired and drive me to continue improving and giving back. Thanks to all my patrons who've already shown their dedication. I truly appreciate it. If you have feedback, drop a comment, give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, or subscribe to the channel. Other than that, I will see you guys next time.